Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Uncharted 3 Crushing Difficulty walkthrough, and this is chapter 10, also known as Historical Research. And the clues we have found so far have led us to Yemen, and we have met up with our old friend and love interest of Elena Fisher. Chloe and Charlie, I think, decided to bug out. It started getting too dangerous for them to continue, so they said fuck it and left. But Sully and Nate are really hard to scare off, and that would be... Imagine what an anticlimactic end to a game that would be. If you could say halfway through the game, or you could get the protagonist to say halfway through the game that, yeah, well, it's not worth it, I'm heading home. It would be an interesting ending, but it would be so anticlimactic. But it could be one of those interesting Easter egg hidden endings, you know? Like in... was it Far Cry 4? That you could beat in like 15 minutes, which I found to be really funny, actually. That was, sadly to say, I thought that was one of the most amusing parts about that game in general. Was the fact that when the bad guy, the guy with the blonde hair, voiced by Troy Baker, whatever he's called, that at the start of the game, if you haven't played it and you've never heard of this secret ending, that at the start of the game you sit in his giant palace mansion, whatever it is, and he leaves you by a dinner table and it says he will be back in a few minutes, and that's where you get control of the protagonist, AJ, or something he was called, AJ maybe. Anyway, that's where you get control of the main character of the game, and you run away from his giant castle mansion and the game starts. But Ubisoft hid a secret ending in that game, that if you just stayed by the table for, I think it was like 15-20 minutes, he would return and he would take you to where you're supposed to go, the place where you're heading through the entire game, the place where your mother wanted you to visit. And that ends the game.
Yeah, here we go.
Which I thought was really genius when they did that. I watched a video about secret endings, and that was one of them, and it took some ingenuity to do an ending like that. But anyway, we're not we're not playing Far Cry right now. We're playing Uncharted. Different publisher, different developer, different game series. And through the magic of cutscenes and stuff like that, Nate has gotten a peek at Talbot. So we are stalking him through the streets of Yemen right now. Or through the city streets. And this is really easy. This is quite reminiscent of that chapter in the beginning where you're following Sully when you're a kid, before you become friends with him. And when you walk through this door, oh, that's right, that's not... There it is. He punches you, and you end up in this fist fight in a fish market. There is a trophy to unlock during this fight, because there are a few tables with fish on them. And you can use those to do instant knockouts on enemies. And if you manage to punch, I think it's 5 enemies in the face, you will unlock a trophy. I can't remember what it's called, but it's called something punny. I think in on my PlayStation, since it's set to Swedish, it's translated into English. It's called like getting his fish warm or something stupid like that. Something really lame and punny. But head over to those fish tables and try to bait the enemies in there. And hopefully Nate will automatically grab a fish. And you will probably not be able to take out 5 guys with fish in one go. But try to beat down maybe 1 or 2 and reset the fight. Because the fish the fish hits still count. So you can just reset the fight until the trophy unlocks. And that takes care of wave number 1. I think now I will take out at least 2 enemies with fish. I'm standing right next to the table. Yes, there we have it. And it's a great strategy because it is an instant knockout. Whenever you get close to things like tables or walls or something, if you're lucky, Nate will bang their heads into that, or he will pick up something and smash their skull in. So it will make this fight go a little bit faster. And as soon as you've taken out all the enemies, those guys will move aside and you can follow... I almost said follow Nate and Elena. What I meant to say was you can follow Sully and Elena. We'll run into this old carpet shop or wherever it is, in these little back alleys. And that concludes chapter number 10. Chapter number 10. So I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.